Hi, my name is Taylor Simmons, and my video analysis project is My Life in the Communication Models. So the first type of model is a linear communication model, and this demonstrates the one-way flow of communication from sender to receiver. The sender is the person who creates the message from their thoughts and feelings. They are the initiator of the conversation. The sender then encodes a message by putting their thoughts and feelings into symbols and gestures. The message is the thoughts and feelings being transmitted, which is then sent through a particular channel, and that channel is a medium through which the message passes, such as texting or email. The receiver is the person attending to the message, and they then have to decode, which is their way of interpreting or making sense of the message. But sometimes there can be noise, which distracts and disrupts the transmission, such as bad signal. So a little overview again of the linear model. It's something a sender does to a receiver. It doesn't capture face-to-face dynamics. So this way of communicating has no nonverbal cues and doesn't account for any feedback from the receiver. So it could be taken, the message could be taken as it's supposed to be, or it could be misinterpreted completely, but you wouldn't know as the sender. Another big point to make with this model is that the receiver may not completely get what your message means. However, there is no feedback, so as a sender, you don't know this. This model is good at providing an understanding of information, how it's transferred, and how messages are sent and received. So a few examples. Some examples from my life that relate to this model are the following. So the first one is, every day, I'm always checking my email, and I find hundreds of emails from my favorite stores, places I've been, doctor's office, etc. So I always read these messages, but I never respond. It's just a one-way form of communication. The store doesn't know if it got to me, or if it even made an impact on me. So my example is a DSW email. It comes through, I open it up, it talks about the messages like the latest deals, coupons, thank you for shopping with us. The channel is by email, that's how it's being sent, and then the receiver is myself. So there's no face-to-face interaction, no feedback, it's just a one-way system. Well, the second example I have is recently I hosted a jewelry party at my house where a bunch of my friends and family attended. I decided to send out a thank you text message for attending my party and buying some jewelry. It was a one-way form of communication also, because I'm not sure if they had a good time, what their reactions were, what their thoughts were. It was just a text message sent out to them. So the sender is myself, the message is a thank you for coming message, the channel is through a text message, and the receiver is friends and family. Okay, so the next type of communication model is transactional. So the transactional model of communication exchanges messages between a sender and receiver, same as the last one, but each person is taking turns sending and receiving messages. This time there's feedback in the mix. There's still channel and noise that can interfere as well. Okay. So this model is classified as face-to-face. We are both senders and receivers simultaneously, meaning we are always giving each other feedback. There is both verbal and nonverbal cues. Even with nonverbal, there is still communication in the gestures or actions you make. For example, just like if you are ignoring somebody or rolling your eyes, this is still conveying a message to someone because they can see and interpret their own form of communication from you. So this model also shows that communicators usually occupy different environments. So this means that when two individuals come into a conversation, they are each bringing with them a whole different set of life experiences, values, and beliefs. So all of this will ultimately shape how you will send, receive, and interpret messages. The physical environment or the setting you are in can shape it as well, the way you send and receive messages. So also in this model, the concept of noise is expanded on a little bit. In this model, noise may reside within the communicators. There is physiological noise, which could involve the biological factors that interfere with accurate reception, such as being sick, tired, hearing loss, and so on. There is psychological noise, which are forces within you that interfere with understanding, such as being upset, stressed, crying over something else. Another important point to mention about this model is that it's an activity that we do with others and not to others. So therefore, an interpersonal communication is a transactional process involving participants who occupy different but still overlapping environments and creating meaningful relationships through the exchange of messages, which many are affected by noise. So I have some examples for this one. One example I have experienced in my life that fits with this model is when I was at work. So I work part-time at DSW. So I was helping a customer find homecoming shoes. So I am the sender and receiver, and the customer is the sender and receiver as well. The channel is face-to-face conversation. We are both two individuals coming into the conversation and environment with different sets of values and takes on life, but we are building a relationship through our conversation in the store about our mutual common ground of shoes. She comes up to me to ask if I can help her find homecoming shoes. I respond by saying of course and reply back with questions about what color her dress is, if she had any ideas. As the conversation is going, I show her around the store and find her different shoes. I can pick up her nonverbal cues to see if she likes them, as well as hear her verbal ones and tone of voice. Facial expressions such as smiles and oohs and ahs show the feedback too. The customer can tell from my end how I'm feeling as well by my tone of voice, by the way I'm talking. There's also some distractions and noise in the store. There's music playing, other customers talking, kids running around. But overall, it's a back and forth conversation in the store. I'm helping the customer find homecoming shoes. We're both sender and receiver simultaneously, and we can pick up each other's feedback. So my second example from my life where this model applies is when I was at my clinical rotation at the hospital the other day. Just a little background to set the scene. I'm learning to become a cardioinvasive specialist in the catheterization lab. So this is where we work on helping people with heart issues. And a lot of patients we see are having chest pain due to having a heart attack. So while I was working, I had a patient come into the lab that was in a ton of pain, who was very scared and stressed. I could tell this by the patient's nonverbal cues, as well as what the patient was telling me verbally. The conversation was me telling the patient what was going on, what to expect during the procedure. The patient would nod their head in understanding, ask questions back about how long it would take, if they would be sedated. As we were in the room, there's background distractions or noise going on. In the room, along with us is other members of the cath team, monitors, beepers going off, different machines making different noises. The whole conversation resulting in constant back and forth feedback though. There was a mutual understanding with our messages with what was going on and why we were both brought together.